Grab your anime body pillows because it's time to look at what's coming for Japan in the upcoming Mandate of Heaven DLC for Europa Universalis 4. Here to present it is Scotland's quickest feet, DDR Jake.
Wow. When you said that you were going to be coming up with something, let's get this out of the way. When you said you were coming up with something for the intro, that came out of nowhere.
It surely did. You should also probably take your microphone down.
Ah.
There we go.
Hello. Hello world. Okay. All right, here we go with the third of our feature streams. Man, this time is passing by quick. We are not that far away from release. What is it, like 9 days to go? Crazy. But today we're going to be covering in our feature stream one of the new upcoming things in Mandate of Heaven. It's not Japan itself, that, strange as it is, has been around in the game since release. But we've certainly revamped what's going on the islands, and we're going to take a good look at it today. So all things Japan. But for this, I'm actually going to turn to the audience right now on Twitch, because what we have done in Japan, one of the things we can see straight away, is that we've added a whole bunch of new tags around here. New nations have been added. Some you will recognize, some are brand new to the 120 Mandate of Heaven. And one of the things we have done, which is actually free for anybody who updates, is that each of the daimyos that you see in 1444 are going to have their own ideas. We've got the Shiba ideas, Uesugi ideas, Ogasawara ideas. I'm going to turn to you. We're going to give out 5 of these and tell you what they are right now. So if you want to see any of the idea groups, then chime in right now. Just tag us with @ParadoxInteractive on the stream. We'll go through them. We're going to give out 5. I just plucked that number out of thin air. And whilst I'm waiting for people to actually put those in, I will tell you that yes, your eyes do not deceive you. There is no Japan nation at the start of the game. We used to have a Japan who was based in Kyoto, and then they would absorb their daimyos, and then it would just become big old Japan unless somebody else takes over the whole Japan tag. No, there is the Shogun, and that Shogun is Ashikaga. And Japan won't appear on the map unless they are actually formed themselves. So, yeah, I see people coming in with ideas. They want to know about Ainu. Ainu have their Siberian ideas, so, okay. People are asking for it. Man, this is where I get terrible and don't actually know my way around the tags here myself. So what were people asking for there? We have date that people are asking for. So date ideas, here we go. They start off with infantry combat ability, diplomatic reputation. They'll finish it off with some trade power, and they'll get the very beloved core creation cost from the Oshushugo. They get aggressive expansion down 10, idea cost, land fire damage, heavy ship both cost and combat ability, tech cost and development cost. What else are people asking in about? They want to see the Takeda ideas. Let's go through. I would have done myself a favor by memorizing all of these ahead of time. Takeda. Where are they hiding out at now? There we go. There have obviously been map changes going on here where the provinces have been reshaped as well. Takeda ideas, they get their cavalry combat ability and cost down from the very start, and they finish off with better institution spread. We have morale of their armies increased, goods produced, spy detection and network construction, improve relations, idea cost, leaders, and extra army tradition. There's a lot of very militaristic ideas going through, of course, since these are the warring states of Japan. And I was trying to see what else we have coming in about ideas. I can't see any at the moment, so why don't we do Yamana, since they're a pretty powerful start right here. They get the manpower, they get diplomatic reputation, and they finish off with discipline, getting extra diplomat, some core creation cost, diplomatic relations, an extra leader shock, more prestige, gotta love that prestige, fort defense, and national unrest. Japan also has their own ideas when they form. They've been in for a while, but they have been tweaked somewhat. People going, nah, Japan militaristic, no way. Ryukyu have always had their own idea group, so there's that. Hosokawa says, Elevate, we have infantry combat ability from the very start. A wonderful idea, Sweden would know. Along with galley combat ability, since a lot of this is inland sea, that'll come fairly useful. Finishing off with institution spread as well. We get legitimacy, national unrest, trade power, extra force limit, extra manpower, more spy network construction, and development cost. And the last one that we're going to do, who's it going to be? Tomo, Ito. Alright, we're going to go with Amago then. They start off with inflation reduction and land maintenance, again finishing off with discipline, starting with army tradition decay, infantry combat ability, more fort defense, and morale. So we've got morale, combat ability, and discipline, the holy trinity right there. Trade power increase, tolerance to true faith, and goods produced. I would say each of these nations have their own unique national ideas, and when you update to 120, you'll be seeing them themselves. Let's jump right in as Ashikaga and have a closer look at what's changed with Japan here. Only 9 days to go and you'll see it all. Okay, so we started as Ashikaga. We are the Shogun, and what does that mean for us? Well, previously the Shogun would have lots of subjects of their own daimyo vassals, and it would hurt them for their diplomatic points because keeping all those subjects, it really hams into your diplo relation slots. But you might notice that actually none of ours are being taken up, despite, frankly, a laundry list of our own subjects here. So what's changed? Well, the Shogun actually does not pay diplomatic upkeep for having their own daimyo vassals. And that's one of the things that we really wanted to bring alive in Mandate of Heaven, is unique gameplay experiences. So it kind of changes the way you play with your subjects when you're going the Shogun route, like Ashikaga here, or whoever might succeed them. So we have a whole host of our subjects, so why don't we see what we can do with them? We have some new subject interactions that can be done with them, so let's take Hosokawa here right now. They're a bit too big for their boots, so I'm actually going to placate them, and I'm actually going to give myself some extra prestige so I can play around with them a bit here, because as you can see we have some new abilities that can be done with your subjects. We can change their isolationism to bring it closer towards ours, and we'll be touching more on isolationism in just a wee bit. We can actually conscript one of their generals, so when all these warring states are fighting each other, they're going to build up that army tradition and have plenty of generals to spare. You, as the Shogun, can actually pluck their best general and use them for your own ends. We can also have them contribute to your capital, so you're going to take the highest of any of their development type, be it base tax or production or manpower. In this case it would be base tax, and you will actually improve your capital with that. So take 2 base tax from them and gain 1 in Kyoto. We can also force them to commit seppuku. If they have been declaring their own wars, which daimyo subjects can do, they can infight. You can actually force them to commit suicide, and depending on how great that ruler is, you will actually get monarch points right into your own coffers here. So if we were to slaughter, let's say who they have over there, this 3-4-3 ruler, you get 5 times that directly into your own admin dip and mill power. Let's keep moving along, shall we? It was Hosokawa we were looking at. As ever, there are the rest of the usual subject interactions that can be done. And you can actually also tell your daimyos, since again, because they can infight, you can force them to return land that is not rightfully theirs. So if there are other cores on it, we could, for example, force them to return land back. Return Aki to Ochi. Hosokawa, they won't be particularly happy with that, but if you find that your subjects are running amok, you can force them to do that. So, change their isolationism, taking their generals, their having contributions of development to your capital, and forcing them to commit seppuku along with the other usuals. Now you might also notice that we can actually have divert trade done on subjects as well. We have refactored quite a few of the interactions that can be done, and we've actually expanded the interface for this. Quite a lot of changes coming up in 1.20 here. These new interactions with your daimyo vassals are part of the Mandate of Heaven DLC. So Ashikaga, they're pretty happy here being the shogun, but I'm sure that won't be the case forever. Now, we're going to jump into Hosokawa's boots. I believe it's HSK. Well, I know my nations well here. Now, previously, if you wanted to become the new shogun, you'd pretty much just have to annex the shogun, so that your daimyo could become the shogun themselves. We've changed up how quite a bit of this works, so let's take, for example, we're Hosokawa, we're not happy with Ashikaga being the shogun anymore. What we can do is win the war for the emperor, and it works a little differently now. We need to conquer the imperial capital, Kyoto. So the province of Kyoto, where the emperor abides, is very important for the shogun and the daimyos themselves. Well, we see what happens here, actually. We're going to declare that war. We are not afraid of stability hits or anything of the sort. Let's get some good generalship and go charging on in there. And it is Sengoku Jidai. It gives you a little explanation here. You can take over the shogun and become the overlord by taking Kyoto. Good to know. And since we have declared our independent war, we are now an independent daimyo. Still daimyo, but we are claiming our independence. And look at us go. We are too good. Unfortunately, I think we are a little ill-prepared here, and our former master is coming along and destroying us with all of his cohorts. But I'm not above a bit of cheating here for the purpose of demonstration. Let's say that we won that war fair and square, which of course we did, and we're going to take Kyoto. Why not take some money while we're at it as well? I do love some money. Now, by securing Kyoto, as we did, the emperor is now in our control. So Katsumoto has utterly defeated the shogun. Damn right we did. And will crown his brilliant campaign by having the emperor name him the new shogun, becoming the hereditary military dictator of Japan. I like the sound of this. Only time will tell, the Hosokawa shogunate will become more successful than its predecessor. We will prevail. So what does this mean for us? Well, we no longer have independence, Casus Belli. Why would we need it? Because now the rest of the daimyos bend the knee to us. They're not particularly happy with it right now, but we should have a truce to work through with that. And that is how you can become the shogun yourself as one of the Japanese. So if you are a daimyo type, then you can fight and take Kyoto to become the shogun yourself. And then all the tools will be available to you as well. So I also want to take this moment to point out that what we have done with the whole subject types here is we've made them moddable. So you can actually go into the script files and change a whole host of things about what your rules are as different subject types. So if you're big into your modding or modder yourself, then by all means you should be checking that out. So on top of that, actually, external powers, let's say Ming, they could actually come in and take Kyoto as well, in which case the daimyos may have to race against them and take Kyoto for themselves, and they can become shogun by restoring it that way, although they will have to piece together the shogun system and get the daimyo subjects back under their leash. So as Hosokawa, we can have our subjects and it will not count towards our diplo relations, and like I said, this is to change up how you play. You can quickly form Japan. Well, I say quickly, might be a bit of a challenge with all these nations here. But you can also keep your subjects around in order to keep using the interactions with them, and you can go further. You can make subjects far and wide and have them all bend the knee to you this way. So lots of new and interesting ways to play around in Japan there. So, plenty of nations, some new ways to play around in the Shogun, but what else do we have? Well, Dev Diary actually came out recently about the Shinto mechanics, so we're going to touch on that as well. If we just jump into religious screen here. Beautiful. We are Shinto, still pretty popular with its morale of armies right here. What we have here, I've got a whole new interface that might be new to you if you weren't checking out that dev diary. We have isolationism as a mechanic for Shinto nations. So Japan actually didn't start out in lockdown back in 1444. We actually we judged them as fairly adaptive back then under the Ashikaga Shogunate in 1444. But this can change, so we start out at level 1 adaptive, which gives us good development cost and institution spread from our isolationism levels. But this can change, and in fact there are 8 possible incidents that can trigger throughout the game that will have an effect on your isolationism. Why don't we just go through them here? Why? We're here now, the time is right, so we'll have a look. Again, if there are questions coming in the chat, then by all means tag us in there. For example, someone's asking if the overall development value of Japan has been increased since there are more provinces. I believe yes, it has. Don't have the exact numbers there. Can daimyos be other religions, say Nahuatl? If you go out of your way to turn Nahuatl as a daimyo, then that should work a-okay. And can you still annex daimyos? Absolutely. So we are Hosokawa here. Let's take Toki right here. And yes, annex them is still an option. Of course, we just took over and they fairly hate us. But if we get that down, then yes, you can absorb your subjects, and they may well absorb each other since they can infight. And yes, I did notice you, Daisuke. Okay. And how many vassals for Japan? Oh my, what is the count there? The count is 1, 2, 3 lots. So, getting back to the religious screen here, we have these possible incidents. So we have the Shushi-gaku, also known as the Neo-Confucianism movement. We have the Nanban trade, the proliferation of firearms, spread of Christianity. Now that's a special one. The rising shogunate authority that plays into the absolutism mechanic. The Iko-iki, ever a present problem for the warlords in Japan. Wokao pirates, and urbanization. So these incidents can trigger, provided that the possibilities for them are fulfilled. In this case, the Neo-Confucianism can actually spread from the very start. The Nanban trade, once Japan has encountered the West, that can trigger. The proliferation of firearms can happen after the Nanban trade, and so on and such forth. Now, once one of these incidents triggers, you'll get some effects, and you will be poised with events that will offer you choices. And these choices will have options varying on would you like to adapt to these, or are you going to close your doors and become more isolationist in response to the events unfolding. And depending on the way that you react, your actual isolationism will change. So we're only at adaptive level 1, so let's give that a quick change. Let's also pretend I can spell for a moment. Isolationism, or is it isolation? Let's take it to 0. Oh man, I know how to type today. If you were to open your doors completely, let's say you had some of these and you went the full embracement path, then you can drive down that technology cost and the institution embracement cost. But conversely, if we were to bring that up quite a bit, you know, we're going to go a bit more isolationism. We're going to get extra missionaries, and culture conversion will be cheaper. Got to keep it tight at home. Or we can go full closed doors, keep everything nice and stable, and we'll be a warring state, so get that monthly war exhaustion down. As I say, we start out at isolationism just 1, so kind of adaptive. And as I also said, let's give ourselves loads of prestige here to play around. Well, let's actually do it. And who are we going to take here? We'll take Amago. Let's just placate them for a wee touch. Well, oh, we can actually conscript one of their generals now. 3 shock would be pretty nice. But we have increased their isolationism, and we can actually bring them towards ours. Now, why might this be important to us? Well, the more of your daimyo subjects that actually have the same isolationism as you will actually give bonuses towards you. Now, unfortunately, because we've been playing around with R1, they're costing us prestige due to lots of them having a different level. So why don't we actually set ours back to, as it were, I think it was Isolationism 1. There we go, each of them that follow the same isolation level as ours, they'll give us extra prestige, so that's wonderful. And we can see what bonus they're getting from their level of isolationism as well. So the isolationism, that's a paid feature in the Mandate of Heaven DLC. You'll get your incidents, your own isolationism level with its corresponding bonus, and the effects of your daimyo subjects having that as well. Could a unified Japan enforce religion on Ming and Korea? Nothing's really changed in that one, since you could fight them over it, although they'd have to be small enough, or you could subjugate them and try it that way. They'd probably hate you for it. And not Japan related, are there new formable tags? I don't think there were new formable tags put into 120. Let's keep it nice and vague that way, not in 120. Okay, I'm not seeing much else coming in from the chat there today, so what have we done? We've been over the religious mechanics here and the new daimyo vassal subject type. Daimyo vassal is its own subject type here, so that's to differentiate it from regular vassals, so that daimyos can actually fight amongst each other. So, new tools to do with your daimyos, new functionality for how to become the shogun yourself, and your new isolationism mechanics. That's all coming along in 120 and Mandate of Heaven. So I think that about wraps us up. We're going to have one more feature stream. That's going to be coming next week, where we'll be covering all the miscellaneous things. We've been over China now, the diplomatic macro builder, which, on that note, is pretty handy when you have all these daimyo vassals of yours and you want to, say, keep your own subject countries under wraps. But if you want to know more about that, then by all means check out the previous feature stream. People are asking about Confucianism. We've had our dev diaries on that. Might even look at it in the next one. Will forming Japan be slower or faster, do you reckon? From what I've seen, it varies. Depends very much how the AI gets off on their feet on that one. But there's more tags, so there's a bit more to chew through. And as ever, we have these decisions to form Japan, and also as ever, you are given the choice if you want to change your ideas or not. So if you really like Hosokawan ideas and you don't want to change for Japan, then by all means. Can Japan become Emperor of China? If you don't like being Shogun and you want to become, say, Celestial Emperor, then yes. My answer to you is yes. You get your border with China and fight them for the Celestial Throne. Trying to see what else is coming in here. Japan ideas, they're slightly tweaked, but I think they're much and such the same. Holy Japanese Empire. Salute you if you go for that. Okay, that about seems all that's coming in. This has been our feature stream on Japan. So look out for us next week for our following feature stream, and we will be back in a hair over half an hour, because we're going to be getting back to the developer multiplayer. I suspect Chris will be coming back down, and who knows what his latest bourgeois concepts and bourgeois constructs will be.